All right, welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're taking a closer look at a phone that's really generating a lot of buzz in the mid-range market. It's the Infinix Note 50 Pro Plus, which was just launched in March of 2025. And, what we want to do today is really unpack what makes this phone stand out, especially for our listeners who want to stay on top of the latest tech without drowning in a sea of specs and jargon.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got a great review of the phone as our source material, so let's just jump right in.
Sounds good. The Infinix Note 50 Pro Plus is getting a lot of attention, and for good reason. It's really pushing the boundaries of what we can expect from a mid-range phone, packing in features that we've typically only seen in flagship devices before.
Okay, so let's break that down. What are some of the key features that have people talking?
Well, for starters, the display is incredible. It boasts a 6.78-inch AMOLED screen with a super smooth 144 Hz refresh rate. Under the hood, you've got the MediaTek Dimensity 8350 chipset. The battery is a beast, 5200 mAh, and it comes with blazing fast 100W wired charging and even 50W wireless charging. For the photography enthusiast out there, there's a versatile triple camera system, headlined by a 50MP main sensor. And get this, a periscope lens that offers up to 100x zoom.
Yeah, that's the one I'm curious about. We'll definitely get to that.
Absolutely.
And of course, it's running the latest Android 15 with Infinix's XOS 15 layered on top. Now, that's a lot of tech thrown at you all at once, so. For our listeners, let's try to make sense of what all of this means in real-world use, right? Starting with that 144 Hz refresh rate, that's more than just a number, isn't it?
Oh, it definitely is. This is about how smooth and fluid the screen feels when you're using the phone, whether you're scrolling through your social feeds or browsing the web. A 144 Hz refresh rate means the display refreshes the image 144 times per second. For context, most standard phone screens are 60 Hz.
Okay.
So we're talking more than twice as fast here. It makes a huge difference in how responsive the phone feels.
So I imagine it cuts down on that blurring you sometimes see when you're scrolling quickly.
It makes everything crisper and clearer, especially if you're into gaming.
That makes sense. And it's an AMOLED display, too. How does that affect the way images look?
AMOLED stands for Active Matrix Organic Light Emitting Diode. Now, the key thing to understand is that each pixel in an AMOLED display emits its own light, and they can be turned off individually. This means you get those truly deep blacks, because those pixels are literally off.
Ah, I see.
Not emitting any light at all. And that translates to a higher contrast ratio, more vibrant colors, making photos and videos just pop on the screen.
So more lifelike, more dynamic images.
Yes.
And it's a 6.78-inch screen, right?
That's right.
That's pretty big.
It is a large display, great for watching videos, reading, browsing the web, and it really shines when you're multitasking, like if you're using split screen mode to have two apps open side by side. You've got plenty of room to work with. Plus, it has a peak brightness of 1300 nits, so you're not going to struggle to see the screen even in direct sunlight.
That's always a good thing. No more squinting at your phone.
Exactly.
All right, now let's dive into the brain of this thing, the MediaTek Dimensity 8350 chipset. What does that tell us about how powerful this phone is?
This chipset is essentially the central processing unit, the CPU, of the phone. Think of it as the brain that handles all the operations. And the Dimensity 8350 is a very capable processor, particularly for a phone in this price range. It's designed to handle demanding tasks smoothly.
Cool.
Gaming, streaming, multitasking.
Okay.
You name it, it can handle it. And it's built on a 4mm process, which means it's very power efficient. So you're getting a lot of performance without sacrificing battery life.
That's important. And we can't forget about the RAM and storage. 12 GB of RAM and 256 GB of storage.
That's a lot of memory.
That is a lot. Can you explain what that means for everyday use?
RAM, or random access memory, is like the phone's short-term memory. It's where the phone stores data that it needs to access quickly. Having 12 GB as RAM means you can have multiple apps open in the background, switch between them seamlessly without any lag or having apps reload. It makes a huge difference in the overall smoothness and speed of the phone.
Yeah, I hate it when you switch apps and then you have to wait for it to reload.
Exactly. It breaks the flow.
Exactly. And 256 GBs of storage. That's a lot of space for photos, videos, apps.
That's plenty of room for the average user. You shouldn't have to worry about running out of storage anytime soon. And if you do need more space, there's a micro SD card slot for expansion.
Perfect. Now let's talk about the cameras, because that periscope lens has definitely caught my attention.
That's a cool feature, right? It's a bit of engineering genius. Basically, a periscope lens uses a prism to bend light, allowing for a much longer focal length. And that means you can achieve higher optical zoom without making the phone ridiculously thick.
So how much optical zoom are we talking about here?
In the Infinix Note 50 Pro Plus, it's 6x optical zoom.
6x, wow. That's impressive.
It means you can zoom in 6 times closer to your subject without losing any image quality.
So you're not just digitally zooming and making the image blurry.
No, it's true optical zoom.
That's a big difference. And it also has up to 100x digital zoom, right?
Yes, but at that level of zoom, you're going to see some loss of detail. It's pushing the limits of the technology. But it still gives you the ability to capture shots that would be impossible with a standard lens.
It's like having a mini telescope in your pocket.
That's a great way to put it. And it's really exciting to see this level of zoom capability becoming available in mid-range phones.
Yeah, it's amazing how quickly technology trickles down like that. And the main camera is 50 MP with OIS.
Right. The main sensor is 50 megapixels, which means you can capture very detailed images, especially in good lighting conditions. And OIS, optical image stabilization, is a crucial feature. It helps to reduce blur caused by shaky hands or low light conditions.
So clearer, sharper photos, even if you're not the steadiest photographer.
Exactly.
And it's a triple camera system, right?
Yes. In addition to the main camera and the periscope lens, you also get an 8MP ultra-wide lens. This is perfect for capturing those expansive landscape shots, or for fitting more people into a group photo. And for selfies and video calls, there's a 32MP front-facing camera. So you've got a lot of options for different shooting scenarios.
That's a pretty versatile setup. All right, let's move on to power. We mentioned the 5200 mAh battery. That sounds like it should last a while.
Yeah, that's a pretty substantial battery. You should easily get through a full day of use on a single charge. Maybe even more, depending on how you're using the phone.
So for the average user, no more range anxiety.
Hopefully not, unless you're gaming nonstop or streaming videos at full brightness all day.
Right. But for everyday use, it should be more than enough.
Absolutely.
And then there's the charging, 100W wired charging. How fast are we talking about here?
We're talking insanely fast. You can go from 0 to 50% in about 10 to 15 minutes.
Wow. And a full charge in under 40 minutes. That's incredible.
It's a game changer. No more waiting around for hours for your phone to charge.
That's so convenient. And it also supports wireless charging, right?
Yes, it does. 50W wireless charging, which is pretty fast for wireless, and it has a reverse wireless charging too.
Oh, what's that?
It means you can actually use your phone to charge other devices wirelessly.
So like your earbuds.
Exactly, or even another phone.
That's pretty neat. Okay, moving on to the design and build quality. What's the overall look and feel of the phone?
Well, the review highlights the premium feel. It's got an armor alloy metal frame, which is a combination of Damascus steel and aerospace aluminum.
Wow.
So it's not just about looks, it's also incredibly durable. And it comes in some interesting color options, like dreamy purple and titanium gray. The camera module on the back has a unique design. It definitely stands out.
So it sounds like they put some thought into the aesthetics.
Yeah, it's not just a generic slab of glass and metal. They've tried to give it some personality.
And the software, it's running Android 15 with Infinix's XOS 15.
Right, the latest Android, which is always a good sign. XOS 15 is Infinix's own skin on top of Android. It's designed to be user-friendly and intuitive, and it includes some interesting features, like One-Tap Infinix AI, which integrates their full-ax AI assistant. You can access it with a long press of the power button. It can help you with things like scheduling, navigation, and even real-time translation during phone calls.
Real-time translation, that's amazing. I could definitely use that sometimes.
It's a very useful feature, especially if you're traveling or communicating with people who speak different languages.
That's very cool. Any other noteworthy features we should mention?
Yeah, there are a few. It has an in-display fingerprint scanner for security, JBL-tuned dual speakers for a better audio experience, IP65 dust and water resistance for some peace of mind, and even a bioactive Halo AI lighting system on the back.
Wait, what's that?
It's a customizable LED light system that creates different effects for notifications and calls.
So it's like a personalized light show on the back of your phone.
Exactly. It's a fun little touch. Add some personality to the design.
That's cool. All right, now let's talk about the price, because I think that's what really makes this phone stand out.
Yeah, it's all about value for money, right?
Yeah.
For the model, with 12 GB of RAM and 256 GB of storage, it's priced at around $370.
$370. That seems incredibly reasonable for all the features we've just discussed.
It's a very competitive price point, especially when you consider that you're getting a high refresh rate AMOLED display, a powerful processor, a versatile camera system, and crazy fast charging. You'd typically have to spend a lot more to get those kinds of specs in a flagship phone.
So are there any downsides or things to consider?
Well, The larger size might not be for everyone. Some people prefer smaller, more compact phones,
That's true. And while the camera system is very good, it might not be the absolute best in the market.
especially if you're a serious photography enthusiast who demands the highest possible image quality.
Right, you might still find a slight advantage in those top-tier flagship phones.
Exactly.
And what about the competition? What other phones are in this price range that people might be looking at?
Well, the review mentions the Redmi Note 14 Pro Plus and the Realme 13 Pro Plus as potential alternatives.
Okay, so how does the Infinix Note 50 Pro Plus stack up against those?
Well, the Infinix really differentiates itself with that periscope lens. It gives you that extra zoom capability that the others don't have. And the charging speeds are also a big plus. Both the wired and wireless charging are incredibly fast. That's not something you always find in this price range.
So it sounds like a pretty compelling option.
It is, especially for those who want a smooth, responsive experience. Powerful performance for all their apps and games, a versatile camera system, and excellent battery life with super fast charging, all without breaking the bank.
Yeah, it seems like they've hit a sweet spot here.
I think so. It's a really impressive package for the price.
All right, so to wrap up this deep dive, the key takeaway is that the Infinix Note 50 Pro Plus is a serious contender in the mid-range smartphone market. It offers a lot of high-end features that you'd normally find in much more expensive phones. The fluid display, the powerful processor, the innovative camera system, and the incredibly fast charging. Those are the highlights. And it's all available at a very competitive price point.
It really makes you think about how quickly technology is advancing and how these cutting-edge features are becoming more accessible to everyone.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It wasn't that long ago that a phone with these specs would have cost twice as much. And on that note, here's a question for our listeners to ponder. Given all the advancements we're seeing in phones like the Infinix Note 50 Pro Plus, what other emerging technologies or features do you think will become standard in mid-range smartphones in the near future? What's the next big thing that will elevate the user experience without pushing the price into flagship territory? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in to the Deep Dives. We'll see you next time.